Monday Night Football is here, and oh boy, does it look like a stinkeroo. The Packers a 14-point favorite at home versus the Saints, but we're going to still do what we always do. Nevertheless, we persist. We're going to do some projections, some ownership, and hop to the world to solver, see what ETR's data thinks is the optimal plays and the optimal lineups. We'll check some sims on Stochastic. By the end of this video, you'll know 3 takeaways to build unique lineups for the slate that does not look like the most fun one, especially I would say a weekend, I'm sure for some of you guys out there, deflating. I know we have to talk about best ball a little bit. Not going to likely have a best ball video tomorrow because I think I have to do the Christmas slate video tomorrow, but did not advance a BBM. Details on that in the Discord. Did advance, it looks like, and again, I'm assuming here nothing really weird happens like Josh Jacobs putting up 40-plus points or Tucker Kraft scoring 30. Looks like I'll advance 3 big board teams to the finals out of the 62 I drafted here, all entirely on stream. So you will find on the channel homepage right now a playlist with those drafts should you want to watch it. At least one of them is when I had really stupidly grew my beard out in the January time period. I was like, it's football season still going, try to do something different here. Oh my God, I hated watching that. I look Amish. Nobody told me how Amish I look. But anyway, that's on the channel if you want to check it out. The tops of the world of the showdown stuff. I'm sure we'll talk more about it throughout the video. We got Josh Jacobs, your number 1 projected guy. He's on the thumbnail right now. Again, everything's going to make people play Josh Jacobs tonight at captain in the flex. I think especially captain. 14-point favorite, as I mentioned. Packers in this game still projected for 28.3 implied points. Saints defense on the year, one of the worst in football, defending the run. 0.08 EPA per run play allowed. 0.25 EPA in the red zone. Also one of the worst marks in the lead. So basically, for Josh Jacobs, there's really nothing stopping him here besides them going, Josh Jacobs, you don't need to go crazy here because we need you for the more important games that are coming up for the Packers, a team who's theoretically making the playoffs. So for Josh Jacobs, highly projected here, 22.1 fantasy points, 11K salary or 11.6 salary. Best play on the slate, so it's what people expect, how it's going to go. Would say that trying to find ways to not have Josh Jacobs hit a captain, trying to find ways to how does he fail the pass game getting there? You'd probably need a more competitive New Orleans game. So that kind of tells you how to play some lineups. I think that's one thing to try to go right away because Jacobs, relative to the matchup, you're going to see the DVP metrics on DraftKings app, the casual players that play a Monday Night Football slate. For whoever's going to play the slate tonight, again, really gross slate a couple days before Christmas, they're going to play Josh Jacobs, and that's going to be the easy click. And if they're not paying attention, even easier to get Josh Jacobs in everywhere. So if you find ways to get away from Jacobs, that's probably how you'd win if Jacobs were to somehow fail. The thing is that it's hard to imagine him failing. So there's your push-pull dynamic that's going to be very obvious up top for today's slate. Shout out to the chat, Justin being here. And again, slow Mondays always when we're going against Pete's stream, his wrap-up of everything. But I do the showdown work regardless here. And I think tomorrow, again, we'll do the Tuesday Christmas video. I think might do one Christmas Day for NBA's slate as well. We'll see how that goes. But that's sort of my rough plan right now. Jordan Love, 18.5 fantasy points, 10.6 salary for him. If you're not playing Jacobs, Love gets a little bit easier to play. If you are playing Love, you're probably getting away from Jacobs too, or you're going to be more willing to do it. So Jordan Love, key part here that we talked about, though, really at these projections, I expect to get Josh Jacobs in every lineup. I expect to get Jordan Love in every lineup. Beyond that, I'm not really sure. Spencer Rattler, cheap for a QB on the slate at 8,600. Also lowly projected for a QB on any slate, 12.6 projection for him. Big gap again between Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs. You're talking about 10 fantasy points difference between Rattler and Jacobs. About 6 fantasy points difference between him and Jordan Love. Rattler going to be not in nearly as many lineups. Jacobs and Love should be in pretty much every single one. Kendra Miller, 12-2. Coach Speak Index has been talking about this. Expect her to be a split backfield based upon the coach speak from Darren Rizzi this week, where Jamal Williams, Kendra Miller, he expects them to lead, along with Jordan Mims getting some work. It's not a guaranteed thing that you get Kendra Miller getting full runway here right away. I would say in the projection set, that's something I would consider knocking down. You have Jamal Williams at 4.2, Kendra at 12.2. Jordan Mims, where's he at? Jordan Mims at 1.3. You can make the case to flatten these guys out. I've talked about it a few times. If you haven't heard me talk about it, Kendra Miller's been pretty good so far on this year. Not the most efficient running back, the negative 0.06 EPA per rush. A really bad negative 0.75 EPA per target thrown his way. But he has had a 43% avoided tackle rate. My belief generally is, it's not even my belief, it's true. Tackle rate, one of the stickiest things generally in the league year to year. Also, it's one of those things that theoretically, if you're avoiding tackles, you're going to be able to add more value over the course of time because you're avoiding a guy who should be able to pick up a yard or two more than average compared to a lot of the RBs in the league who sometimes around a 10% avoided tackle rate. Good ones being 16%. Miller would be really an outlier, like a Bucky Irving's around 30. Expect him to come down a little bit in that metric, but Miller's been the best back. Point is, though, I think Jamal Williams is going to be in there more than this projection will show. And frankly, Jordan Mims might be in there more than this projection shows as well. Jaden Reed, 11.9. We've seen him fail, obviously, with some mediocre games lately. They can always get him going again. Christian Watson, the matchup should be benefiting the most. Christian Watson facing a team that runs man about a third of the time. Watson getting about 3.4 yards per out run versus man defense, 35% target per out run rate. Romeo Doubs also better versus man, 2.6 yards per out run, 25% target per out run rate. Famously, a couple weeks ago, I did advocate against Jaden Reed while talking about the Detroit Lions and how much they play man defense, how good they are at it. Same thing here for New Orleans. They've actually been good at one thing in football, it looks like this year. It's, well, hey, two things. They're okay when they generate pressure. That's not a surprise. Every team is if they can actually get to the QB. But also man defense. They have a negative 0.2 EPA on those plays. Again, they're running it about a third of the time. So I think Jaden Reed here, he can get there during the times they're playing zone. He can get there on run plays and stuff. I don't love Jaden Reed in the slate. I think Watson and Doubs both look like better plays, and their salaries are cheaper too. So I would plant that flag right away. Reed can always go off. I could be wrong about this one this time, but I think it's more of a Watson-Doubs spot. Top values on the slate, according to Stochastic data here. Of course, get it for yourself. It supports the show directly, and you get the best data, or one of the best data sources in the biz, some of the best tools in the biz as well. And also, too, there's one guy who left like a really angry comment and was like, your sims don't work. And it's like, first of all, they're not my sims. I'm just showing you a product here. And it's a very good one. It's winning people a lot of money on every single slate. So I think in general, and a guy was like, I've used it for 3 weeks and I'm doing poorly. It's like, first of all, please don't be mad at me for whatever. The second part of it is like, you have to keep in mind the thing we talk about a lot here. Sims are going to give you back a reasonable representation of median outcomes as represented by that site's projections. If you put ETR projections in a stochastic sim, it's going to give you what more like ETR looks like, more like we're going to get on the solver. So that's something to keep in mind with stuff. It is still like a thing where, the best players are using sims. There's a video that ETR has, showing one of their guys using the solver. It's like you look at it, you see what's performing the best. You then play around with what's performing the best. Can you make a swap for less ownership but similar upside? That's what you're doing. You're not just taking the stuff. It's why I say, like, please don't just play the stuff on the screen. Use it as a thought starter to build things that are unique and represent an angle that you feel is right. It's important to note that, I guess. I don't know if that guy is just stupid. It's certainly within the range of outcomes. The guy's just not smart. But like in general, I hope I'm making this clear. And I know a lot of you guys have done well in DFS this year, but I think people are just like looking for the answers. We talk about the lot here. They just want the winning lotto ticket. And it's like the sims are part of that. They're going to put you on a pathway for it, but just like you have to kind of spend time working on it, not just blowing your load in 3 weeks and going, this doesn't work. Like it's not what the process ever should be for really anything in life. But betting especially, you just have to manage your bankroll and prepare to strap in to do the work over a period of time. Ben Sims, your top projected value here, $200 salary. Musgrave could be back today. He was limited in practice. If he were back in, he would hurt that look for Sims a little bit, you would think. Would maybe put a slight ding to Tucker Kraft's outlook. I don't know if there was any change here. Sometimes Stochastic does miss these guys that are coming in their early run of projections. Let's see, update 13 hours ago. He's questionable. So Musgrave questionable right now. I would think he would go. They certainly don't have to make him go. But if he does, I would say Ben Sims, I would kind of throw that one out the window because Ben Sims will definitely get squeezed by having Musgrave out there doing anything. Dante Pettis moved up the pecking order a little bit for New Orleans last week. How many snaps did he play? Seemed to vibe pretty well with Spencer Rattler too. Played 26 snaps last week for comparisons. Kevin Austin, trying to find him. There's so many Austins in the league. Kevin Austin played 41 snaps, so he did play more. MVS, who's banged up and could end up not going today. He's projected he played 43 snaps. So look, I mean, Pettis was involved, not quite as involved as some of these other guys. Cedric Wilson, what was he at? Cedric Wilson was at 20, so he's roughly as involved as Cedric Wilson. These guys would be your lesser-owned Saints. Did think that visually Pettis looked the part. Honestly, Pettis always kind of looks the part whenever he's actually playing. I like Dante Pettis. I think that especially if you were to get MVS out, he's in the projections right now. I think Pettis would benefit, but I think he could get there no matter what. So Pettis, 4.2 projection, 1K salary. He might not be sneaky with that 4X value here, 4.2X value metric, but I like him as a player. Jordan Mims, we're going to go deeper down the RB rabbit hole. You're not going to play Kendra. You're not going to play Jamal Williams. I think Jamal Williams would be the most live pivot. That's Kendra being maybe a little bit overprojected. Jordan Mims at $400 could work. Mims last week played 0 snaps, was not active. Jamal Williams played 6 snaps. Kendra played 26, so you should expect him to lead the backfield no matter what. And Kamara, before his injury, played 25. So Mims wasn't active. That's why he didn't play. Jamal Williams was active, and he got more snaps, but it wasn't a ton of them. The pecking order of what you want should still be Kendra, Jamal Williams, Mims. But, game gets out of hand. I would guess the guy who'd be most likely to sit first would be Jamal Williams despite that. But Mims is in play, I think, especially if the game is a 14-point spread, which it is. If the game gets out of hand like that, you can see just Mims come in because they don't want to hurt Kendra or Jamal Williams be a possibility. Bo Melton, I feel like Bo Melton is never a player I want to get to very much. With everybody healthy, played 2 snaps last week. Everybody's healthy. He could, I suppose, get a couple catches, maybe a touchdown if he's running 2 routes. But you're asking a lot of Bo Melton. $600, not a play. Not a play for me at the very least. Let's look at ownership next. Of course, you get all this data for yourself. Again, Stochastic, 15% off. Check it out. Support the show if you can. It does slow down a little bit on the holidays. So honestly, it shouldn't though, because you have more DFS slates than ever. People pay less attention than ever. So not to be the devil on your shoulder advocating for gamble more during the holidays, during time with your family. But legitimately, if you are going to get in, I think it's a good time to get that 15% off promo code SPLASH. Of course, link in the description too, whether you are watching on YouTube or listening on podcasts, which by the podcast downloads been going up too. So shout out to you guys who are listening audio only. Hopefully I'm doing a decent enough job. Oh boy, this Josh Jacobs ownership, 37% at captain. That is the highest we've seen all year. It makes total sense. I did not see this number in advance before my little rant up top about Josh Jacobs. Look, he's a great play. The ways he doesn't get there is like the game is too easy. You don't need to keep putting Josh Jacobs out there, risking injury when a guy is basically going to be a key part of all your game plans and your playoff aspirations and all of that. You probably need him more for those games as well. He's gotten some miles on him over the last couple of weeks. They've talked also this week. I don't know if it was Coach Speak Index or something else I saw. I've talked about wanting to ramp him down a little bit in games that don't matter. You now are within the week getting a game that doesn't really matter, that they should win easily. The only way that Josh Jacobs is going to fully get where he needs to go is if the Saints keep it competitive enough. They have to keep running the ball, just kind of keep him away. It's not a likely outcome. I think you get a touchdown from Jacobs. I think he should be likely in your lineup in the flex no matter what. That is so much captain ownership. I'll play him at captain. I'll maybe be with the field on that, I guess. That's insane though. It's an absolutely insane number at that price tag too, 11.6, but it's not really insane because it's a 14-point spread and the Saints suck. And as I mentioned, they're just bad versus the run. Merry Christmas. Shout out Spurious News. Appreciate you being here. Of course, appreciate all the paying members, especially it's Christmas time of year. So if you want to join down below, $4.99, it does support the show. Get a VIP Discord where yesterday people were having some of their BBM sweats, myself included. I was in the lead by 20 points and then was going up against a Brock Bowers, Brian Thomas team. And if you saw the box scores, you guess how that went. But yeah, that's, the VIP Discord marches on, of course, all year long. NFL, NBA, go check it out. Join down below. Get access to my data sheet and a premium video once a week as well. And that'll be still going throughout the playoffs, throughout the entire year. Jordan Love, 14% captain ownership for him. So talked about him and Josh Jacobs basically going to be in every lineup tonight. Best projected players. I think if you do go to a Packers receiver here, there's going to be a real edge. All those guys are in 10%. So if you get an outlier passing production game for somebody, Christian Watson, we talked about the matchup. Romeo Doubs, I think equally good, has had some touchdown opportunities lately. I think there's a very obvious pathway to capture a Packers win, dominant Packers win even, still account for your Jacobs touchdowns and still play Love. But you play these two guys, you are going to have to find a way to get unique. Spencer Rattler, 40% overall ownership, 5% at captain. I don't see him hitting at captain. It would take the best game of his career so far. And I'm not sure you get that going against the Packers team that defensively, generally not one I want to target against on the year. They are at a negative 0.07 EPA per drop back. Good. Negative 0.08 EPA per pass. Good. Negative 0.05 EPA per rush. Pretty good. In the red zone, they suffer against passing, but I don't know that Rattler is going to really get the ball in the red zone. They play a lot of zone. That would theoretically benefit MVS the most. He's got 2.1 yards per out run versus zone, a 9% touchdown rate. He does also have a 50% touchdown rate versus man, but just gets targeted a little bit less efficient. Everybody else on the team at receiver is not good versus zone. And in fact, Juwan Johnson better versus a man defense, which he's not getting today. So if you're one of the people out there rooting for Juwan Johnson, maybe not a him spot either. Yeah, I don't like Rattler captain. It's hard for me to make the case. Besides, he's cheap enough. 5% owned. Game theory play for sure. I spend the whole stream talking about Christian Watson. Only thing they'll stop at DK Finals, a 14-point Watson game. I appreciate David. Look, I think it's a really good spot for him. Mentioned some of the numbers up top. Again, the man defense splits being most prominent. 33% man defense rate for the Saints. That's where Watson's feasted. 35% target rate. 3.4 yards per out run. Probably due to be even better too, because those underlying metrics he should have higher than the 0.03 EPA he hasn't scored a touchdown versus man. So I think Watson's a really compelling captain at 8% ownership. 36% overall. You can play him in the flex if you want. Watson, I think, will be in a lot more lineups than mine tonight than the field. Kendre Miller, talk about the risk and upside. He's probably your most likely Saint to get there. That said, you are paying a price tag for it, $9,400. You're paying more than Spencer Rattler. There is some risk if the game is especially competitive. Jamal Williams gets more work. Think Kendre, though, seems fairly owned. At captain, 5%. I don't know. I don't know that he could score enough touchdowns. Kendre getting so far 0.8 red zone intended touches a game, 0.3 inside the 10-yard line. Jamal Williams getting basically the same amount, 0.8 inside the 20, 0.2 inside the 10-yard line. I like Kendre. It's a lot of money you're spending on him. But I think if he's your only Saint, I could live with it. I don't know that he's like a must-have, though. 35% ownership, 40 feels about right to me. Jaden Reed, 33%. Talk about the reason to fade him a little bit. Just not as good of a match for him if he's going to see zone about a third of the time. He's probably due for a spike week game is more the reason he played Jaden Reed, but I just don't know if it's a matchup for him to get there doing it. He certainly could. Packers, 32% ownership for them on defense. Only 3% in captain. Maybe if Josh Jacobs doesn't get there, maybe if Watson catches one touchdown, doesn't have a big enough day. Packers D scores a touchdown. Packers D gets some sacks. Rattler's metrics, only a 1.4% interception rate, only a 1.4% sack rate, but he does see pressure 41% of the time. Green Bay, not great at creating pressure, more of a team that's going to sit back and just defend you well across the board. Yeah, Packers D's fine. I think not bad at captain either. Tucker Kraft, again, would be squeezed a little bit by Musgrave coming in, but not enough. Musgrave, not really a play. Kraft, an okay play. 4% in captain for him. Dobbs, I like it. This 4.4% in captain, 27% overall. Think he can have a nice day here. Again, the man splits, not quite as good as Christian Watson's, but still more than good enough. Brandon McManus, kicker here for Green Bay. 5,200, not crazy to get there. They should just dominate New Orleans and be on their side of the field a lot. I think McManus actually does make a good amount of sense here, and that price tag's a little bit aggressive. 26% ownership, also a little bit of aggressive number to have on him, but I'm okay with that. And that's really not else much to highlight. Chris Brooks, 10% for him. Emmanuel Wilson, 5%. Brooks has been really the one behind Josh Jacobs the most. In terms of snap counts, where are we at? Chris Brooks, 16 last week. Emmanuel Wilson, 6. And then for comparison, Jacobs was at 48. So not a ton of snaps for either guy, but if Jacobs sees less work, these guys should see more. Brooks in particular, I think the fact he's cheaper, I feel like Wilson has held on a price tag that reflects a role that he hasn't had for like a month. Brooks has been the RB2. Like Brooks has been the guy. And again, we can all silently weep as well for Marshawn Lloyd not being available this week. Shout Roberts the third. Oh, come all ye squirtful. Thank you for that. Thank you. You did spell it like come and go, which is a respectable gas station. So I'll take that. And I mentioned before, yes, BBM unfortunately dead. Big board though, looking like we'll advance 3. And there's now a playlist on the channel if you want to see the teams on big board that should be advancing for me. I did draft them all on stream, and you can hear me get a lot of things right. You can also hear me bashing the shit out of Ladd McConkey on one at 140. And he's going to be one of the receivers I desperately need to have a shot in the big board this weekend. Anyway, that's your ownership right now. Again, I think it's an interesting slate because I am not seeing it fully aligned with some of the people up top here, some of the ownership up top. So I think for me, there'll be a natural way to build some unique stuff. And look, I will say, gross slate on paper, I think an exciting one because I think there's an obvious angle to play that's not maybe going to be quite as played. All right, so no Sims on the solver. Let's just see what the projections give us right now. 25 lineups here, no variance on it. Let's see what we get. Jamal Williams, MVS revenge narrative. I don't think they're going to be very vengeful about not being in Green Bay, to be totally candid. Usually the revenge games, and you've honestly, some of the player podcasts talk about this, at least in the NBA, where it's like, guys will actually, like they've admitted, like guys will play harder when it's like somewhere you really wanted to be. No disrespect to Green Bay, lovely place, very passionate fan base. I don't think if they're going to be there, and like the weather in fucking Philly today is like 20 degrees, and they're going to want to be in whatever's in Green Bay and be like, oh man, I'm so sad. I can't be here for this. They're going to be perfectly happy and not vengeful. Thank you for all your great work day in, day out, reading all my heinous chats. Thank you. Your heinous cats. Thank you for that one. No one wants to be. That's right. You're the one that's by Lambo, right? Yeah, I can't imagine. How's the snow levels at? Because you said it was like 8 inches the other day, right? Or yesterday. All right, so your cash game lineup, if you're playing a cash game, 11:22 a.m. on the East Coast, this would be it. Josh Jacobs, captain. Jordan Love, Spencer Rattler, Christian Watson. So Watson is making it in, even though I think he should be a sneaky play. Juwan Johnson, Dante Pettis. Honestly, the one I would critique the most here would be Juwan Johnson. Just don't think that vibe has been there between him and Rattler on the year. Frankly, was barely there with Derek Carr. Watson does get pretty good receiver, or Johnson, excuse me, does get pretty good receiver usage overall. But he and Foster Moreau, kind of a dead split, so it's okay. Going to snow this afternoon a little. All right, well, there we go. So snowy game, certainly running there. Also going to fit that theme if there's any snow on the field by game time. In terms of the top 25 lineups, you're getting Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs in all of them, as expected. You're also getting a lot of Dante Pettis, 76% for him in this top 25. Why are they not showing me the captain ownership for Jacobs? All right. Josh Jacobs seemingly and captain in all of them. So Jacobs also your default captain in all 25 lineups. I don't know why it's not shown. Usually it shows the flex and captain ownership uniquely so you can see it. I don't know why it's not coming up. In terms of stack construction, I got to imagine we're getting a lot of 4-2 Packers, good amount of 3-3 Packers, 5-1 Packers coming up a lot. Look, this is not the slate I feel the most comfortable about it. If you're going to play 4 Saints, if you were to somehow play 5 Saints and you captured them pulling an upset victory that no one's going to see coming, you would win the slate, I think. I just don't think people are going to get very Saints-dominant builds, so doesn't mean it's going to hit. But again, this video and showdowns in general are about looking for little levers of uniqueness you get on a slate that actually have a chance to win. It's about finding really that viable pathway to win that's still credible and projectable. If you can get there with 4 Saints, 5 Saints, you can do it. Here's a 4 Saint lineup as an example. Again, very unlikely they do win the game, but when that hits, that would hit pretty big. 20% of the top 25 have Josh Jacobs, Jordan Love, Christian Watson. 12% of Rattler and Pettis. No really big observations here. Okay. And yeah, Love and Jacobs in every lineup. So that's that. Let's go to Stochastic next, see what they have in terms of simulations. Not a classic slate. Showdown. Again, I'll be back, theoretically, assuming that the data is up on Stochastic and I guess CTR as well. Do the Christmas video tomorrow is going to be my goal. And then maybe an NBA video on Christmas morning for me. Not sure about that one, though, because it's going to depend on how it's going around the house and when we have to leave and go over to my in-laws' place. But again, Merry Christmas, all you guys. Hope you are still breathing in some best ball tournaments out there. Of course, the journey here on Splash Play, I don't take time off. I do the work here every day. Please come by, check it out. And of course, please do click the affiliate links, especially this time of year, because that'll be helpful to get money come January. All right, 10,000 lineups here. Let's see what we got. Assume it's the usual third to first here, so let's do it that way. Run the contest simulation. 10,000 lineups were built. They're going to compete 10,000 times. We'll see what we get. Don't work on Christmas, dude. Go fuck yourself. I get paid for it. And that's what it is. But also, I'm probably going to put some lineups in on Christmas. So that's that. Spags put in the holiday overtime. Nice. Yes, I appreciate that. I'm here. Unfortunately, I don't get paid overtime, though. Need to fade 33 from Crafts. Everyone playing a captain to print money. Yeah, that's where I'm at, too. If he puts up 30.5 PPR today, then I'm going to be fucked on one of the big board teams I assumed would advance. But honestly, if I get all three to advance, that'd be an insane run out in the big boards. I'd be pretty stoked. 555 person tournament, but not getting a BBM across is so tough. My BBM team was legit good. Like all my RBs were hitting yesterday. Just didn't get there enough at receiver. Even Chig put up 15 points. But I needed like one more McLaurin touchdown, a Zay Flowers touchdown, fucking Jamar Chase not giving up touchdowns since T. Higgins and Yoshvis would have helped. It was a tough scene for the BBM one. I really thought I had that. Put up just shy of 170. It was like, this is a nice little score to carry in. And it was a Jaden McLaurin team with Chase Brown. No Atlanta bringbacks, though, I think was the biggest issue with it. All right, top 150 lineups here. We're going to look at the overarching trends as well as the top lineups. We do gamble on Xmas Day for NBA. Though hopefully not Q tags on NBA because really don't want to be doing that. Okay. Oh, Brendan Bowen. Thanks, Brandon. Why Brendan angry and nobody cares? And I especially don't. Goodbye, Brandon. Good luck in your future endeavors. How can you watch my videos, by the way? Like, I give the best advice in the industry right now. Like, there's no questioning it. I hear it from so many people time and time again. If you're losing, I'm sorry. That's going to happen. But, like, don't fucking come in here and be toxic. And yes, eat a butt, Brendan. I've also never called myself a pro. I've made a lot of money in it. I also took profits on it. That's why I bought a house. I've been very clear about what my journey is. I play a casual amount of money every day, just like you guys do, because that's what I like. I like chasing big payouts and not getting fucking broke and dusted by it. Like, that's, I don't know what you want from me. Happy to talk about it more, people who aren't Brendan, but I can't be more clear about everything I show you here on stream. I'm the most genuine person doing this shit every day. So to have that take on Christmas, like, how fucking lonely are you, man? Jesus. Josh Jacobs, like, that's so sad, man. I really, like, it's Christmas week. Just fucking find joy. Josh Jacobs, but he can also eat a butt, though. That's fair. You're going to take my L on Jane Daniels. Oh, I didn't even know you needed an L, Lee, but I appreciate it. Yeah, Jane Daniels, man. I'll tell you what, you watch those best ball videos, the drafts that I've highlighted now in my theoretical big board finalists. I really said everything right about Jane Daniels from day one. So I feel seeing him come through yesterday, I said he was going to fucking win. I called the Commanders winning that game. Like, I was so proud of him, man, even no matter what happened. And thank you. Tune the thoughts, a top 5 finisher at BBM. Again, another winner here, another person who had a good year doing this stuff. I appreciate that too in the thoughts. Thank you. Anyway, that's your top lineup here. Jacobs, Dante Pettis, Jaden Reed, Jordan Love, Saints, Spencer Rattler. I think really why it gets my goat so much is, like, I work really hard here. Like, I think I put in more hours on stream than anybody in the business. I drafted more teams on stream, talking about my takes, talking about NFL news and shit every day than anybody else out there. Like, if you want to shit on me, man, whatever. But, like, the amount of work I do here and hopefully the value I bring to people, like, just fuck off. Just fucking go suck at a tailpipe for Christmas if you don't have a family. Josh Jacobs, and even if you do have a family, Josh Jacobs, Brandon McManus, Jaden Reed at number 2, Jordan Love, Juwan Johnson, Saints, and who else could effortlessly flow from wishing death upon people to immediately reading a lineup? Number 3, Jacobs again. So keep in mind the Sims will usually move you to different captains because of there's so much ownership going to Jacobs. Such an obvious play. You're getting Jacobs in all your top 5 lineups. Jacobs, McManus again, Dante Pettis, Jordan Love, Romeo Dobbs, Tucker Kraft. Number 4, Jacobs, McManus, Jordan Love, Packers, Saints, Tucker Kraft. Number 5, Jacobs, Jordan Love, Kevin Austin, Saints, Spencer Rattler, Tucker Kraft. So a lot more Tucker Kraft than I would think. I don't think anything about this screams Tucker Kraft matchup. McManus, though, I do like as a play. Just think it's going to be hard for the Saints to even be on their own side of the field in this game. Again, that could be the obvious take here. Nobody's going to be, I think, going out. The Saints can move the ball a lot. So if you want to be more contrarian, I guess maybe you fade Brandon McManus. But these lineups are okay. Just not enough Christian Watson and Dobbs for me. You got a little bit of Dobbs. So in the top 150, thank you. I appreciate that, running man. And thank you. Great. Nice lineup. Thank you. It's out a $12 single entry in NFL yesterday, $2,500. Not a huge payout, but helps the best ball crushing go down easier. There you go. Hey, winning a single entry, that's always impressive to me. I wish I were better at single entry stuff in general. All right, so captain plays. Well, here, let's look at this. Your highest ROI plays just overall. Doesn't matter what position. Captain, you got 4.2%. So For Ben Sims, don't see that. I do think what it's trying to say, though, is that having a cheap guy here looks interesting because you're able to jam in all the plays that are a little bit more projectable, have a theoretical floor and ceiling. Don't think you should actually play Ben Sims at captain, but again, a way to think about it here is that they do think there's a valid ROI here. In fact, the highest ROI at 4.2% of all the players on the slate to put Ben Sims at captain. So somehow a cheap captain were the hit, that person could win a lot of money. Brandon McManus, 2.7% ROI for him at captain, 1.1% in the flex. I didn't actually think about him at captain yet, but I do think that would fit as well. The issue is with the snowiness. If there is snow on the field, frankly, the cold too, a little bit tougher to kick a ball. So you want to sort of critique anything for McManus, I think that would be it. Thank you for making another handle. I don't care. Why is this guy so obsessed today? It's fucking Christmas. I can't be more clear that you need to find something better to do with your life than trolling somebody who's working just to fucking do the thing they promised to do on Christmas week. Like, Jesus, fucking toxic people. Like, I appreciate you normal guys out there, but Jesus Christ, like, how lonely does your life have to be? You could just not watch things if you're really that butthurt about it. But like, I can't be more clear. We have a really good community here. The people that have been very satisfied and gotten good results from the things that I talk about or things that I make them think about, even if I'm not going to take credit for it. But Jesus, yes, lonely and delusional and also obsessed. Like, you make a new handle and then you wait for the 5 minutes of subscribe time so you could leave a comment and be angry again and just get banned. Like, find happiness, please. Even if you're watching the stream in general, find happiness. But like, really, if you watch the stream and angry, find happiness. All right. Top plays overall here. You're getting 63% exposure in the flex for Jordan Love compared to 60. So a little bit above the field, basically flat. Brandon McManus, 43% compared to 26. So fairly chalky kicker option is Brandon McManus at a high salary, 5,200. But again, if you're going to go with kind of the logic here, them being on the Saints side of the field a lot, Brandon McManus should have a lot of kicking opportunities when they don't punch in a touchdown. Really, like, I'm surprised to see this much McManus. I thought he was a good play. That's it. Okay, thanks. Again, I don't know why you're just allowing me to get rid of you on the channel. Like, they're making my life easier. I don't like the more people I know who I don't want in participating in the channel, I can just get rid of. Great. Keep watching the show though. Obsessive people. My God. Like, it takes me 1 second to get rid of a chat and now I don't ever have to see you again. It's like that, the scene from, wow, what fucking movie was it? Not Goodfellas. One of those mafia scenes with Chaz Palminteri. And he's like, oh, this kid's like mad about, I did this in acting class back in the day. Like, oh, you know, this guy owes you $100 or whatever. And like, you're trying to get him down and beat him up to get the money back. And it's like, it costs you $100 to get this guy out of your life. Like that's invaluable. Just know you can't trust this guy. And that's it. That's basically the lesson there that the Chaz Palminteri playing a mafioso had. For me, it's like, great. You're going to leave a stupid chat. I get to get rid of you and I don't have to see you ever on the internet again. That's great. Oh yes. Bronx Tale. Thank you. That's at a Bronx Tale. Good call by Mitch. Mitch being from Green Bay. Remember the Bronx movie better than me, the guy from the Bronx. But really, it's like when people show you who they are, just fucking, that's it. I don't need it. There you go. We have a bunch of dumbass usernames. I mean, look, we can make fun of the guy. I really just think it's depressing. Like, this is the part really, even when I was at Barstool back in the day, what like made me so sad. It's like when you see people getting so obsessed with things and it's like, do you really have nothing else like in the world? Like, is there really nothing that makes you happy that you have to like come and like try to tear other people down or like be shitty for no reason to a person who doesn't even care about your existence? Like, you could like, these guys could legit die of a heart attack in the next couple of days. And I'd be like, oh, I don't even know. Like that's the reality of it for me. But it's like, it's just, I don't know. It just makes me sad. Like, just please, instead of leaving your toxic little chats here, just fucking go to the gym, go on a walk, go get some vitamin D. Please find happiness. If gambling is making you that all twisted up, do something else with your life. You don't need to be here. We do this for fun. This should be fun. It shouldn't be depressing for me or them. Watch you for my PTSD and love your channel and energy. People coming in here with bad vibes. Just doing it for others. Thank you, Trader Joe. I appreciate that. And I appreciate your cuisine as well. But yeah, no, that's the vibe. And I'm glad to hear it. And sorry to hear about your PTSD. But look, man, it's just that's nice to hear. It's nice to hear shit like that instead of people that want to blame others for their own really big failings in life. Josh Jacobs, 46% pool ownership, 39% in the flex. So they're going over the top of captain. I think we're going to see that in a moment. A Rattler, 36% in the ownership overall, 43% you're getting in your lineup. So a little bit over the field on Rattler. Kendra Miller, 36% in the flex compared to 30% for the field. Tucker Kraft, a little bit over the field. Juwan Johnson, a little bit over the field. Those are the stands right now. At captain, you're getting Josh Jacobs at captain 55% of the time. So you saw it on the top ROI lineups. That said, you're getting him a ton of ownership at captain for the field as well at 36%. Wouldn't shock me here if we have like a record amount of captain ownership for Jacobs today with the game script, with it being an obvious thing to see again on that DVP thing for casual players, people coming in on Monday Night Football slate. They're going to be there a pretty good amount. But I think that like for Jacobs, everything you're getting sim-wise says just find another way to get unique. Just take this play. So half your lineups having Jacobs today at captain, I think would feel about right. Just wouldn't shock me if the field ownership gets to like 40 to 50 in terms of captain ownership. Jordan Love, 14% ownership in the captain compared to 7%. My God, I don't care. There's no stats to look up. It's not even worth it. I won a lot of money in 2021 and took all the profit from it. And I used it to try to do other things in life. And now I play like a normal player does, playing a reasonable amount, as many players do, by the way. I at least tell you it on stream. I play a couple hundred a night. That's it. I don't know what you want from me, but please find a life. I can't be more clear about how pathetic this is and how uncomfortable it makes me. Please find joy. This is not going to be your joy. Getting one chat off and then being banned just makes sad for you and for me. Thank you for this. People, when they win money, holy shit, I'm so smart. People, when they lose money, that Spags guy's a meanie face. That's it. Yes, bankroll management. That's it. That's the whole thing. Look, if the smartest way, if you have like a big win or whatever, you should take some of the profit and you should use like half of it to keep trying to attack DFS slates. For me, I had a fucking kid incoming. I moved out here and bought a house and like made a better life for my family. Like, so I got what I wanted out of DFS. I also like played a lot of money on big NBA slates. I was like, I don't enjoy this. I don't enjoy having $4,000 on the line in a given night. It's important to learn what makes you happy in things. I'm not here to impress random YouTube guys who have made 5 different accounts and have to keep waiting 5 minutes to say something else on a different YouTube account. It's pathetic. So I got to be clear here. Like, really, draw the boundaries, please. I don't want you here. If you're that guy, I don't want you here. Small money, have fun, win finance. I mean, yes, that's it. Or play battle royales and trade money, and you'll have the occasional big win, and like you'll feel really smart, but you'll probably give that money back over the course of time because of how that game goes. There's ways to play this, I'm sure, if you want to spend more money and still have a shot at making more. But like if you're not a top 1% DFS player with $1 million bankroll, like you shouldn't be playing DFS and maxing out tournaments every night. It's probably the reality of things. You should use the best tools and find tournaments that make you happy. 3 maxes, single entries, putting one lineup in a big tournament. That's sort of the thing. But man, I just like, I'm sad. I apologize if it's me who's the one that's like making this guy fucking be an idiot. But that's that. Anyway, Christian Watson, sorry, we'll focus on the video here. It's just like really not really throwing me for a loop in terms of what I want to do on this slate. Throwing me for a loop, and like, this is one of the more pathetic showings we've had in chat in a while. And I'm sure another 5 minutes, there'll be another mystery handle coming out. We got Josh Jacobs again. Great play at captain. Play him as much as you want. Really, about half your lineups feels about right to me. Jordan Love, 7% compared to 14% for the field. It's a little bit lower there. Not playing the passing game script as much. Really, the main thing to take away from that is that getting Jordan Love at captain, I think, is a play where people are going to play it a good amount. Frankly, the upside has not been there for Jordan Love unless he's been in competitive games overall. The games where, famously the Minnesota one, they were getting their ass kicked. He came back in, put up 30 fantasy points because they were playing from behind. Those kind of situations, unless you expect the Saints to do something completely out of left field here, Jordan Love at captain maybe has a little bit less merit. Besides the fact, he's got a pretty high floor, theoretically a high ceiling. Christian Watson getting 5% at captain compared to 8% for the field. I would really like a lot more Christian Watson. I think I've been pretty clear about that. I'm actually surprised you're not getting more of the receivers as kind of a leverage against Jacobs. It's sort of the natural thing you would get normally. But yeah, for Jacobs, you're just getting so much of him that it seems like the sim can't even think about giving you anybody else. Oh my gosh. Who is it? Like, this is so sad. Look at this guy's chats. Like, this is a guy too I know has been obsessed on Stochastic's channel too. I just like, how sad is your life? Are you going to just die alone? Can you just do it already? Can you get it over with? We all know it's coming. Just do it. You depress me. That's it. Anyway, this is the slate. What else to look at here? Let's hand build the lineup. Still got to do the process here as always. It's Christmas I can't be more clear. It's Christmas the day before Christmas Eve. And I have to deal with this guy who just keeps making new handles or using his other YouTube accounts and then has to wait 5 minutes to say another mean comment. This is like one of the saddest offerings I've seen on this channel. And I just don't care. Because that's people who have no lives. And the thing too is like he had anonymous ones and he ran out of anonymous ones and that was probably his real one. And but my God, dude. There are probably channels out there that will care what you have to say if you want to go and spend time with them. I'm not sure there's a lot of them, but you probably find one that needs the views that bad. All right, let's pull out a showdown lineup in here. Let's harken back to the last time I had a good lineup on stream. Why is this not pulling in the new slate? Let's refresh. Well, Lee, that might just be a boomer thing for you if you don't know how to change your photo. I'll give that. Yes, it's high from Mother's Basement, I'm sure. I don't even know. I don't know these guys' lives. I just know that you can't be happy if you're going to do shit like that. All right, Josh Jacobs at captain. We just rolled it. I'm going to put a Christian Watson captain in. Believe in the play enough. I do worry that the target volume's not there for him enough overall. Like, why would it be? One thing to keep in mind, though, and people sometimes do miss this a lot with snow games. I've talked about it a few times on here, and we've had these situations. Not that this one's going to necessarily have a ton of the snow on the field by the time the game does go, but it could. Defensive backs suffer just as much in a snow game as receivers do. So that's something with a Christian Watson where, like, he could probably get a guy juked, find his way to space a little bit more easily because of the fact that, like, there's going to be a defender going against him who's going to be playing on, at the very least, a cold field, if not a snowy field. So I would say that I'm just going to mute it. We're done. We're done with the bit for today. You're just giving me more handles to ban. That's perfectly okay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for what? I don't know. Is this about me or about them? I think I know you best ball on call, but yeah, this is a lot of effort. It's fine. We just mute and move on. I've said my piece. I can't be more clear about, like, I've never once said I'm the best. I said I make the best content in this space. Second part of it is, like, I just don't know what to say at this point. So let's just move on. I can keep roasting these guys, telling them to kill themselves. They already know that they should. Josh Jacobs at flex. Let's do that. Yeah, I know. I know best ball and calls username. Just like, I can't even tell at this point what's fucking somebody that's drummed up because they lost in BBM would be my guess. Let me guess. You want to cut line in BBM? Unalive, yes. Whatever the case may be. Thank you, best ball and call. I appreciate it. I wouldn't even say honorable, but Josh Jacobs, still have to put him in the flex. Again, he's going to get played so much at captain. We're going to try to find a unique build with a positive ROI. If Christian Watson made it a captain, Jordan Love probably did as well. Let me see can I get Dobbs in here too, or is Dobbs too expensive? Dobbs, $8,200 salary. Okay, could live with that. Do you like Dante Pettis? Talked about that. Yeah, I mean, nice. I'm gonna pull that up. Look, I would honestly, I have no issues saying the actual thing. I think it's pretty obvious sometimes that some people maybe you don't need to be on this rock. That's what I would say. But we try not to get people that are going to submit YouTube fucking complaints. Not that it fucking matters either. Okay, we got one more spot here. We have Christian Watson, the captain, Josh Jacobs, Jordan Love, Romeo Dobbs, Dante Pettis, our cheap run back option. Only 14% ownership expected to go his way, so it does feel a little bit light when you are getting him a good amount on Stochastics data. But I think he's a decent New Orleans bring back here. Could Jamal Williams get the early touchdown? Would Darren Rizzi force a touchdown to Jamal Williams early because they're back in Green Bay and he thinks that's good for morale? Maybe. I mean, we can't afford Kendra no matter what. I do think Mims could also work. Let's see what Jamal Williams. So 76.1 projection, 180% ownership. You like Pettis, but not like Penix. Yes, that's fair. And Yeah, I mean, I think Pettis is an interesting play today. Apparently not in this lineup, though. I mean, Mims is going to be too lowly projected. What do they want me to do then? What would be a good Watson lineup to them? We'll look at that in a moment. Chance of Musgrave coming back. He's questionable right now. I don't know about the 6 fantasy points, but him scoring a touchdown would not be crazy. You're probably going to get, like, what, less than 10 snaps for him if he does come back in, but it's possible. I do think there's a shot that he plays today. He doesn't have to, for sure, but he's been limited in practice now for about 2 weeks, so theoretically should be able to get in if they want to get him in. All right. Do we have to pivot off of Pettis? Let's see. We have 3,800 left per spot. They probably want Brandon McManus, so let's put him in. Maybe put Dante Pettis with that. See, now we're just feeding the sim what it wants to hear, which I don't know is really the best way to build a lineup, but let's see what happens. If not, we'll just look at Christian Watson lineups, look at some other unique captains, because Jacobs is really not sneaking them on anybody here, as you've kind of been obvious throughout this video, along with the fact that there's depressing people in chat. I think those two things have been obvious here. Jacobs, you're not sneaking up anybody, trying to build some other stuff with different captains. Even though Jacobs is the most likely outcome, it's going to be the case. 77% ROI here on this team, so just took a 1v1 pivot and we got there. And you had to put in the Sims' cherished boy, Brandon McManus. Christian Watson, captain, Josh Jacobs, Jordan Love, Romeo Dobbs, Brandon McManus, Dante Pettis. So that's it. It was really just swapping off Jamal Williams. I still think Jamal Williams is a valid play in terms of a cheap guy that could get 1 touchdown because of bullshit, stupid reasons, but maybe that's just me. Let's go back to the Sims here, see what they have for some unique captains, including Christian Watson. Their best ROI and lineups for Watson. Let me zoom in a little bit. Did see that CH signed by the Saints practice squad, so hopefully he'll be there at some point. They did want the kicker and the massive home favorite. Again, just feels like a scene where you can't imagine the Saints really getting into good field position too often. They could, I guess, turnovers, things like that would be the way to do it. But the offense, like Rattler's okay. I mean, they're literally doing walkthroughs in the cold fridge to try to get accustomed to it being chilly. I don't know that this, it just feels like a joke of a game, but everybody's going to think it's a joke of a game. So that's sort of the trade-off. Christian Watson teams, though, you got Watson with McManus, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Packers D, and Saints D. So both defenses here, kicker as well. That feels not that sneaky here. Christian Watson, Brandon McManus, Cedric Wilson. You're spending the entire salary on this one. Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Kendre Miller. Number 3, Christian Watson, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, MVS, Saints D, Tucker Kraft. I don't think Watson and spending all the salary is the move. You're not fading Jacobs on any of these lineups either. I don't think these are unique enough ones, but you get an idea at least. They want a defense in, it seems, if you're playing Watson, at least in 2 out of the top 3. Dobbs at captain. Just dealing with the dregs of YouTube chat today, Brian. I'd appreciate a friendly name being here. We got Dobbs, Brandon McManus, Cedric Wilson, Christian Watson, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs. Number 2, Romeo Dobbs, Brandon McManus, Dante Pettis, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Spencer Rattler. Number 3, Romeo Dobbs, Emmanuel Wilson, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Kendre Miller, Saints D. Really can't be more clear about, I think Chris Brooks is just a better play than Emmanuel Wilson. I don't think projection systems any of them have really caught up to that. The fact that Emmanuel Wilson's role was good early on and then went away, I think they're still reflecting him having that one big game early in the year a little bit too much. The Dobbs captains, I think, appeal to me more in a concept. At least these are leaving salary on the table. Like you're leaving 1-1 here, leaving 700 here, 300 here, a little bit less so. That's that. What about Brooks with Jacobs if it's a blowout? I think that's okay. Maybe you wouldn't want to play Jacobs at captain with that, but you could, given the fact that it is a pretty high total. So I don't think it's a crazy thing at all. Other captains to look at. I mean, honestly, Jordan Love. You got Love, McManus, Josh Jacobs, Juwan Johnson, Packers D, Tucker Kraft. Number 2, Jordan Love, Chris Brooks, Christian Watson, Kendre Miller, Packers Dobbs. I like that you got Watson and Dobbs here. You're fading Josh Jacobs, which is pretty ballsy. That's a fun lineup. That's a lineup that's going to lose a lot because Jacobs, again, one of the best plays in the slate. There's not, like, you're not fading him because he's not good. You're fading him because he's just going to be everywhere. If he were to somehow not hit, just really just maybe not scoring a touchdown, they just dominate enough, get there through the pass game early, and then you get Chris Brooks in. That works. This one with Jordan Love, Chris Brooks, and Josh Jacobs, Foster Moreau, Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs. I do like Reed the least here, but he does seem to be coming up at a reasonable rate. So again, just tournament-wise for DFS, I do think the football part of it would make me want to play Watson more, make me want to play Dobbs more. For Jaden Reed, though, I think that he's a player where the DFS part of it looks okay to play him relative to those guys. Matchup-wise, I just don't think it's a great matchup for him. Just look at a Jaden Reed captain, though, just in case. Green Bay 5-1 with no dupes is silly. I agree. What are you talking about? I'm reading the stuff that's on the screen. I also point out who I like. I even say splash plays I like. Stop making new handles, please. I don't care about your opinions. Your opinions are meaningless, as meaningless to me as they are everybody in your life. That's why you're on a YouTube chat the day before Christmas Eve. Please, please, fucking find joy. I'm handling this as classily as I can, besides occasionally wishing for your death. But please, man, my God. Think about the environment. Yeah, it's true. Every new handle's burning carbon emissions left and right. Jaden Reed teams. Like, you just don't get how DFS works if you watch these videos and that's what you get out of it. It's really stupid. Like, God. Not stupid at making YouTube names, stupid at everything else. Jaden Reed, Ben Sims, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Juwan Johnson, Kendra Miller. Jaden Reed, Brandon McManus, Christian Watson, Jordan Love, Juwan Johnson, Romeo Dobbs. Jaden Reed, Dalen Holker, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Romeo Dobbs, and Tucker Kraft. I don't know if he's talking to me. Chris, are you being mean to me so I know I can get rid of you too? Or are you being mean to that guy? Please clarify. And Pip, can you give me the FanDuel lineup, please? Yeah, those are the kind of people. These guys, though, I got to say, this is unequivocally a white guy thing. Much like serial killing, classic white guy behavior here to make a ton of different handles and fucking be pathetic with it. Anyway, these are your top lineups right now, according to the data here. Again, we're using data and tools, which is a big part of DFS. It's sort of the way that people do have success with it, whether you're playing small amounts or a lot. All right, here we go. Thank you. Okay, I can get rid of you. Sick. Is this like, am I being attacked by like a community? It feels like maybe that's the thing. Because clearly, like, these guys all have accounts that I put on subscriptions today, subscribe to chat. So I don't know what's going on. Weird day, though. I don't care about any of you guys, though. You can just go. You also don't know what like a bun is. It's not a mullet. I have long hair in the front. You can't say the same take on different accounts and be wrong. 3 takeaways, build unique lineups on the slate. Number one, guys, first of all, before we get to that, please make sure to subscribe, hit the like button. As you can see, there are handles coming out of the woodworks that love subscribing to this channel. You know why? Because I show up and do the work every day, and I will tell it like it is for people that need to do other things as well, including for the slates, of course. That's the main goal here. Just give you good information, show you products around the industry, not be the reason you lose. Sort of the main thing we have going here on Splash Play every day. Underdog, $1,000 in bonus cash, promo code SPLASH on there. Stochastic, 15% off. If you want to use tools for yourself instead of being a tool, go to Stochastic, get 15% off, use promo code SPLASH. The best deal they will have. Of course, you get all their data, sims, and all of that. Unabated, want to get some better betting data, check it out. Of course, we'll be on the Splash Play NBA channel, which hopefully all these accounts don't go over there and subscribe to. That'd be awful. But please go check that out later today at 4 p.m. Big NBA slate coming up. And let's talk about 3 ways to get unique. Let's see. All right. We got first thing here, going to be the most obvious one again. And these are talking about ways to get unique that are just very obvious, not talking about please follow us 100 lineups, because that might be what some of the less sharp people who watch these videos do. Don't play one of Josh Jacobs or Jordan Love. Don't play both. They just come up very easily in everything. Obviously, as we talked about throughout this video, Josh Jacobs is the best play in the slate. At a certain point, though, there are diminishing returns. You have as much ownership, as much of a logical reason people are going to go to Josh Jacobs. Similar thing for Jordan Love with the projections, with all of that. So if you fade those guys and you somehow hit on that outcome, whether it be the Saints winning outright, whether it be just Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs getting hurt, as much of an unpleasant thing as that is, that would be something as well where you could win money. Just not playing those guys, or at least one of them, will get you off the beaten path of a lot of different people out there. Number 2 here, way to get unique. I mean, I think it's playing receiver captains. You're just getting so much Jacobs there. You could still play Jacobs in the flex. You could still play Jordan Love in the flex, but I do think if you got off captain there, you somehow have Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, Jaden Reed, Tucker Kraft. I like Kraft least out of the group. Jaden Reed second least. I do like Watson and Dobbs a good amount. Watson be the most. I think getting those guys, if they could hit a captain, maybe a little bit of a narrow thing, just given how Green Bay goes. Sometimes the production gets chopped up. But I would say for those guys, having them at captain would feel like a more interesting play than just taking the running back and assuming the running game is what gets there. It just takes really one touchdown from a receiver and they could beat out, especially if it's a long play for Watson or, 2 touchdown game for Dobbs. Be pretty easy to kind of pull directly away from Josh Jacobs. Number 3, playing kicker is not sneaky. I think playing the running backs who are not Kendre Miller does not have a great projection merit, but I do think that's another way to get unique here. You're getting so much obvious Kendre Miller. People have been excited to play Miller. He's one of those guys that fantasy players have wanted to play, for probably months of their lives. In this kind of spot here, I think that if you go to Jamal Williams and he gets an early touchdown, you go to Jordan Mims, maybe Kendre Miller gets pulled at some point because the Saints were so far behind or whatever. I think they're a good play. So I think that would be it. Dante Pettis, I also like as a play, but I'm not sure he really gets unique. Projecting 15% ownership, but I don't know that's going to be quite the case. But there we go, guys. That's it for today. Again, weird stream. I apologize. I get easily distracted by trolls and stuff, but it's just like, I've never gotten that vibe. I've never gotten joy out of that. I just think find things that make you happy. And this is, even though it might not seem like it today, this is one of the things that makes me happy and it makes me money. So those are things that you try to do. And I would say for those people out there, I wish you the best, man. Honestly, if that's what you're doing on Christmas week, it really I hope that is like a lesson for all of us. That's like our Christmas story here, is that you see how the other half lives and you go, let me appreciate what I have more because I'm not that guy. And that's how I feel it. Yeah, I know. I like money and happiness. I like doing things I'm passionate about. I like having fun on stream. I like getting the puppet out and talking about that guy offing himself. I appreciate that as well. But yeah, come for the authenticity. Look, it's just, please, if you're one of those people that's going to take your misery out on others, why? Do something better. That's it. But Merry Christmas, guys. Back tomorrow, I think, for around this. I think it's going to be 11 a.m. again because we're not doing anything for Christmas Eve this year. So back at 11 a.m. tomorrow, I believe, doing the Christmas Day NFL slate. Basketball-wise, as I mentioned, looks like I'll have 3 teams coming up in the big board into the finals on there. Hopefully they all stick, but they should based on what's around me. Either way, check it out. There's a playlist now of those 3 drafts. If you want to see drafts from earlier in the year, one of them was my 8th draft of the year. One was my 30th. Or 30-something. One was the 50-something. So that's all on the channel as well. If you're fucking hanging around and you're also like those guys, but you're not fucking weird about it. Just want something to do over Christmas break. I don't know. Listen to those. Gamble responsibly, guys. Especially if you're those guys in the chat. Even though it is always money time here. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play Pod back at 4 p.m. on the Splash Play NBA channel. So I'll see you guys there. Enjoy your days, and thank you to the good parts of chat. Merry Christmas if I don't see you again before the holiday, and happy Hanukkah too. And of course, good luck. Bye-bye.